There we go. Good evening. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Can you hear me?
Happy New Year. Absolutely.
Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay, I must be doing something weird in my views. There we are. Oh, there we go.
How's our waiting room?
It looks clear and ready.
There's 33 people, it looks like, that are in the meeting already.
Yeah.
Number.
It's a good size
Awesome.
tonight.
I'll be right back. Sorry.
And it's just after 6:30. So thank you so much for joining in. Hope you had a wonderful midwinter break, right? A little holiday break, and are ready for the new year. I don't know about any of you, but I had this moment the day, what was it, like the evening of January 1st, where I was thinking about cookies. And then I woke up and I was like, oh, wait, I don't need to worry about cookies yet because they're not starting this week. And it's the first time in a few years that that's the case. And it felt pretty good. So that was kind of exciting to not have to be concerned about cookies starting on like January 7th. So that felt really good. But we are thrilled that so many people actually sent in information, questions, ideas to talk about tonight. So we're really going to focus on everything that you asked. I think that Colleen made a little agenda screen for us. So that we can just, first we're going to do a little housekeeping. If this is your first Zoom, there are some things that you should know. One, if you're not speaking and you mute, it helps everyone else hear the speakers better in case you get some background noise unexpectedly. So that's always a really good tip. We love seeing your faces. So if you have the bandwidth on your computer to be video on, it's really great because it just helps everyone feel like they're in the same room having a conversation together. So we love for you to turn your computer on. There's the reaction option on your toolbar around your Zoom. And that's a really cool thing because if you hear something you like, you can give it a thumbs up or applause or just a little love to something that someone else is sharing, and it helps them to know that you're engaged and you're picking up what they're laying down. If you want to get a question in the middle of someone's conversation, feel free to put it in the chat. We always have designated people looking at the chat to help answer questions on the fly there and keep the conversation going. So those are my little tips for you. We do have the closed caption feature activated. So if you would like to use closed caption on yours, you're welcome to do that. Other than that, I think we're good for agenda. So we have some folks in the room tonight to help talk about some of the things that you were asking about. We had a request for information about the award dinner. So we'll have some conversation about the gold luncheon that'll be coming up in November of 23, as well as our volunteer recognition dinners that are coming up in April of 23. We had a question about the Amahami Fire Tower, so we'll be talking a little bit about that, and a brief cookie update. There are not new updates, so that's really exciting. We are status quo right now for cookies. Some questions about the new office, so we'll give a little information about that. A big question that came in was some idea sharing best practices on recruitment. So we actually have a couple folks teed up and ready to talk in depth about that and ask you to share your experiences and ideas there too. And then we'll talk about delegate selection and then anything else that pops into your mind. So with that said, let's get rolling. And of course, if there's anything that comes to mind now, put it in the chat. I think what we can do is start out by talking a little bit about the awards. Colleen, you were going to talk about the luncheon first and some other things.
Yes, so hot off the presses just shared with me. Please mark your calendars and save the date for our upcoming Gold Awardee Luncheon, which is scheduled for November 18th. We know it's only January, but we know you're going to be really excited to celebrate all the hard work of those girls. So feel free to pencil that in so you have it saved and ready to go. And then as we get closer, obviously we'll be sharing out more details with that event as well. But to now slide it back to Christina 2 seconds later so she could have a quick break. Christina's going to update us on the award dinners.
Yeah, so our award dinners, we have our location set. The only one that is, I'll call it to be confirmed. We know where we want it, but they take a little vacation in the winter. So we are waiting to get some affirmation that we will definitely be there. Is the one we'd like to go back to Clippers this year. They were lovely and welcoming, and the food was probably some of the best food from a volunteer dinner in a while. So we really want to go back to Clippers up north this year. So we're waiting for that. Colleen just put all the dates in there. One of the things that you're going to see a little bit different this year is, you know, as Girl Scouts, we promise to be good stewards of Girl Scout money. And one of the things that has kind of tripped us up a little bit with our dinners in the past is we end up having about $1,000 worth of dinners that go unconsumed because we have people register for our dinners and then we promise our vendors how many people we have, and that's what we're going to pay for. And then it's not uncommon for us to have about 20 people not show up at a single dinner. So this year, what we are doing a little bit different. This year, what we are doing a little bit differently is we are asking, we are going to charge $10 for our dinners this year, but we are going to give you a ticket, a drink ticket for your first drink. So whether it is a soda, a beer, a wine, a mixed drink, whatever your beverage of choice is, you will get that. And we also have opened up our budget for our dinners to accommodate for the changes in cost to vendors these days, because as anyone who bought eggs this week knows, that eggs are like the highest growing inflation item in your household. So we have really made some changes there in order to make sure that we can still provide a quality dinner. We are charging $10 for the dinner, but we're giving you a little bit more in return for that. And then also our awardees are still not going to be charged to come to the dinner. So if you're a nominator of someone, and what we're going to do is when we tell you what award that person is receiving, we're going to give you a special code so that when you register them, they can get registered free of charge. So we want to keep the integrity of the dinner and keep it going strong. So yeah, I'm really excited. I think that we have some great places. There's some different places. So when you're looking at the list of venues, we really worked hard. I know I was in Palmyra the other day, and they were very excited to see Warfield. So if anyone on here is from that area, apparently Warfields is the place to go, and they were very excited about that venue. And yeah, so thank you, Carol. Clayton, is Clipper in Clayton? Is that where it is? I forget the physical address.
I'm 90% certain it's Clayton, but I'm grabbing my phone so I can Google it.
Yeah. Oh, and Beth said yes.
There you go. I should have known.
Yeah.
Small note. You got it.
Yeah, they were absolutely wonderful hosts last year, so we're very excited to be able to go back there. Does anyone have any questions specifically about the award dinners? They did cater the last camporee too. Yes, they were great. They're such good people. They're really nice. All right. Next on the list is the Amahami Fire Tower, I believe.
Yep, Amahami Fire Tower. Now, like I said, Liz is on here. Liz, I don't know if you want to take the stage and talk about it.
Sure. We had someone ask what the plans for the Amahami Fire Tower are and to paint it so that we can conserve its integrity, and honestly wasn't on my radar. So thanks for whoever asked the question, because wasn't even in my brain. So when we're moving forward with next year's budget in the new finance year for 2024, we'll look at all the projects that we've got throughout the council, and we'll see how feasible it is to get the Amahami Fire Tower painting on that. I think recently we just redid the stairs. I think there was some projects going on there. So we're slowly, it's like a bridge, right? Like we start on one end and we start painting over the bridge and get to the other end, and then we have to go back around and start at the first part of it again. So it's kind of like that with this fire tower. So thank you for the question, and we'll definitely put it on the list of capital projects for 2024.
Awesome, thank you. Our next question that came in was just a general question of, hey, are there any new cookie updates? And like Christina mentioned earlier, I'm happy to report from Ray and Jacqueline that at this time there are no new cookie updates. The SIP program is still scheduled to start on January 30th. I am dropping the link into our chat bar to our cookie site, which has all the magical things that you will want, all of the resources, the dates, the forms, the tutorials, all of those beautiful resources. And the team does work very hard with our marketing team to make sure that that site and page stays up to date, like on the hot presses and ready to go. But if anybody had any general, or I should say specific cookie questions they would like us to bring back to the team, feel free to share with us. I have both of our peeps on speed dial, so I can text them really quickly if needed.
Colleen, I did have a question on the dates.
Yep.
I just gotta look at it again, 1 second. So when in January, when Digital Cookie opens, people are gonna be able to put like online selling or shipping, they're gonna be able to put their orders in.
If I remember correctly, and Christina or Julie, or anyone correct me if I'm wrong, the direct ship is not going to open up until February. So it's kind of weird this year and kind of going to be a little bit different. Normally on the first day of this program, the girls can go in and they send all of their emails to all their customers, and they can select direct ship or girl delivery. This year, because we wanted the bakeries being very specific on how those cookies are being handled, the girl delivery emails will be ready right away. The direct ship emails will have to hold off until until February. So it's going to be, the girls have to do like kind of 2 runs to send in their emails.
Yep, direct ship opens February 27th.
Does that answer your question?
And are they being shipped like right away, or they're being
Because they're
held
holding
through
off
shipping?
taking the orders for direct ship until February 7th, they will be shipped starting February 7th.
Okay,
27th,
that makes sense. Okay.
Yep. And then Katie mentioned at our last service, all leaders cheered that cookies were starting later this year. I have to be honest, I think the bulk of the people, knock on wood, that I've spoken with are happy that cookies are just a smidge later. Kind of lets them take that like big sigh and like, January's here, let's get us into it. So seems to be working. So who knows? Maybe it's a test run for future dates. We shall see. Any other cookie stuff?
The real good bonus is the early walk around in February that they didn't change. We'll be able to know exactly how many cookies are left before we order our booth sales for the next go around.
Can you repeat that for me? I'm sorry.
So there's the cookie weekend in February. If you got early cookies, you'll have that sale done before you have to turn in your initial order.
Yep.
So that's a big
true. I didn't
plus.
even think about that.
That's a big plus.
Did not think about
And
that.
the fact that there were only, I believe, 8 councils or 9 councils who agreed to move our shipping back in order to make enough cookies. And because we did agree to that, they've assured us we're going to get 100% of our cookies. That they've gotten written paperwork to me, so I'm really hopeful that that will be the case, and that we won't have them coming later in the year saying like, oh, these cookies aren't coming. I think we're going to get them all.
That's good. Fingers crossed. 3 questions came in really quick. Kathleen said, so basically girls have to decide which folks might want to order girl delivery and send those emails first. Essentially, yes. Like I know for my daughter, and we're helping her, I know which customers are the ship and which ones are the girl delivery. So let's kind of like pick and choose. Jen Erzen did emails go out for the troops to order their early cases? If I remember correctly, I believe Jacqueline said on our staff training, December 21st, I think was the email, the date that the email went out. I know that she also just recently resent something. Go ahead to Christina. I see you
That's,
raised hand.
yep, so the how-to has not gone out yet. The how-to is going out by the end of this week. So all of the troops that earned their early cases, whether it was through Treats, Reads, and More, or early bird renewal, by the end of this week, will get their instructions on how to access and order.
I think they're notified earlier, but the instructions and the specifics are still coming. Okay, let's see. What else? When will the troops be contacted for the cookie weekend sales? Like Christina mentioned, they're going to be coming in quickly. This we call it, yeah. When will the eBuddy app be ready? Do you mean like when do leaders get access to eBuddy? Is that what you're referring to? I have this written down. The 24th or the 27th of January. Both dates are flipping in my head. So it's basically 3 days before. I think it's the 27th. It's right before the sale. Leaders will have it. I know it's on that Girl Scout, the cookie page link that I posted earlier. If you click all the dates, it's listed right in there for when leaders will be able to have access to the site and get started. Renee said, there you go, 24. Okay. Any last chance? Any other cookie stuff?
If something else pops in your mind, just put it in the chat and we'll look at it again.
You know where to find us. Our next topic question that came in is about the new office. We were looking to see if there's any new office updates that we can share with the team, and then when it plans to be open and when the store plans to be open. Would anyone else specifically like to take this topic? Julie's raising her hand. Go ahead, Julie.
I can take that topic since I'm the lead there. We are officially moving our the rest of our items from the Cicero office to 960 James Street on the 16th and 17th of this month. And that includes the store. The build out has been done. So as soon as we get all our boxes in, give us a few days to get ourselves organized, and we'll probably be ready to roll by the first week of February to have people coming in to see the spots and to see the great spaces. So so that, I'm sorry, what was the other half? There was another half.
Someone asked when the store will be open. And I know that Ray told me that he's hoping to have the store open in early February.
Yep.
That was the second part of that.
Yep, that's where we're hoping that we'll have all that ready. Yeah, ready to go. The building sale is complete. The new owner is Zero Draft, which is a local company that's growing that does spray foam insulation.
Okay. Any question? The address was 960 James Street, right in Syracuse.
We're on the second floor. Of course, we're going to send everything out. We haven't quite finished the lease yet. So things, whenever you're buying and selling and leasing, they all kind of happen at one time. And so you're trying to get everything done legally before you put everything out there. But we will be on the second floor. Once we get there, the building is open from 8:30 to 4:30, or it could be 5 every day. We will be, of course, we'll have a little opening after we get settled, but that wouldn't stop folks who are in the area if they want to pop on by. We're on the second floor, right across from Brighton Stratton.
I see a couple cookie questions did come back into the chat. I wrote them down, guys. Treats, cookies, and treats and more. And we wrote those down. I'm going to get a hold of Jacqueline and Ray so I can get you specific answers on those. So, any questions? Any other location? She shared in the location. We're going to get ready. We're excited. I know I'm excited. I'm all packed up and ready to go. So it'll be a fun transition. Any other questions on the new office site? Okay. And then our next move is we have some volunteers who are asking about best practices for recruitment. So welcoming to the stage, we have the lovely Sarah and Lisa, who are going to share best practices and lead us in a little bit of dialogue and sharing.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Sarah Scott. Just a little disclaimer that I'm home by myself tonight with my 2 dogs. So I apologize in advance that I don't have a partner here to like take care of business. My husband's not home, so sorry if they bark. So Lisa will take it from there. And Lisa's gonna be my partner in crime. She's works in the membership department as well in Seneca Falls. I work at our office in Maine, New York. So thanks for letting us chit chat tonight. So we'll just talk about a few things. first of all, holy smokes, we're at 91% already, and it's only January 10th. So kudos to everyone on this call. We're really grateful. And the most important thing is that everyone in this call loves the Girl Scout movement just as much as all of us. And that's why we're all here. And it's important that we get to share why we love it with everyone that wants to listen to us, or even those that don't want to listen to us, right? How awesome Girl Scouts is in their community. So I'll just kind of start through a couple of things and then pass it over to Lisa. So a couple of things that we focused on already this year, and hopefully you saw us out and about, is of course, open houses in the fall are really big for us. They start in August in the Pennsylvania area. Those are really popular in some of our areas, and sometimes they're not, right? But in a lot of our areas, we're able to really communicate with our volunteers in that area and have some coverage there, and of course our staff. But of course, every open house is on the same date. I don't know why that is, but that's just the case it is. And then in November, we really started focusing on daisies because we love to have our little daisies start with us and stay with us until they graduate. And then we went into holiday recruitment, which is huge for us. And then we're right into daisy recruitment again and focusing on the areas that maybe have a little bit of a gap, and how can we kind of work with those folks. And our starter troops, and we have a part-time position, which is our troop formation specialist, as well as we have this really cool opportunity for our service unit and troops to earn a little extra to start starter troops. We might have a volunteer, a potential volunteer who's really excited, maybe a little nervous, right? Because everything's a little bit nervous when you don't know what you're doing, or the first time you're trying something, maybe you're a little anxious. So to have a staff person or a volunteer to be their partner as they start a troop is really reassurance for that potential volunteer to become a volunteer with the Girl Scouts, hopefully for a long time. So there's that. And then Lisa, this is really something that she came up with that we're really proud of. So I'm going to turn it over to her for our recruitment challenge for this year.
All right, thanks, Sarah. So just a reminder to service units, we do have a recruitment incentive challenge this year, and it was shared out at the fall kickoffs, and then we shared it with service units throughout the fall. But if you need a reminder, there is a jot form on the website, and there are different activities that your service unit can complete to help with recruitment. Things like making sure you have tables at your school open houses, or holding a community event in your community, passing out flyers to different locations. So if your service unit does 7 of the activities on the challenge and you submit the jot form to us, we are offering the girls in your service unit a journey program virtually this summer. We'll be doing 1 journey program per grade level. So all of the girls in your service unit will have the opportunity to participate. So if you have questions about that, reach out. You can reach out to your membership engagement manager or your membership support manager, and we can answer questions about that.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I just saw a question come in too from Erin. The most exciting part for our folks in the Syracuse area, we just hired a new recruiter. She starts on January 24th. So we're very excited. She covers most of Onondaga County and all of Portland County. She shares Onondaga County with Dolly LeClaire. So we're really excited. She starts the 24th. So Erin, yes, you will see recruiting opportunities in the city of Syracuse. Absolutely. So we're she starts the 24th. And then we also have these amazing girl invitations that were created this year. So maybe you have 5 spots that are available in your troop, which I'm not sure if that would be the case, but maybe there is. And you want to send home a little invitation that, you know, little Susie can go share with Tara to join Girl Scouts. We would love to get those to you. So you can just reach out to your membership engagement manager. You can just email info@, and we would definitely be very thankful, one, and grateful. And of course, we'd help you with any type of recruitment that you'd like to do. We also have possible programs. We call them programs, but like events like animal dance party that have a whole curriculum. If you have an older girl troop, or you just want to host one, or sometimes it's nice too if you have room, the membership engagement manager can come and partner with you and then run it right within your troop setting, which is nice. And then we also like to work with our community partners. Maybe you have a connection. For example, Syracuse Crunch let us have a recruitment table there this year. And with that connection, we were able to do that. But maybe you're like, oh, I know Billy's Bees, whatever the case may be, that connection there that they might want to have a recruitment table. We would love to hear from you to work with you on that as well. And then, so that's kind of some of the things that we've been focused on, running some events in the local area, making sure that we're known in the community, building relationships with the service unit, because we do have a lot of new staff members on our recruitment team. So that's what our focus has been this year. What are some of your best practices that maybe you have done in your area? Anyone willing to share, or like, oh my gosh, this was so successful? Or it's okay if you did something and it failed. We can hear that too. Any suggestions? We also have a bring a friend patch, which is really exciting too, that we like to include in all of our events, that we have a gold and silver heart, like, you know, like back in the day when we had the BFF heart necklaces, so they match each other. So you can always, if one of your kiddos invite someone to come to your troop, we'd be happy to give them a patch as well. Nothing? I know Renee had a really cool event in one of her service units that did the chalk, where they invited some friends outside the senior home. I don't remember what it was called, Renee. I'm sorry. Maybe you can help us out.
So they did a chalk it up, and they literally just covered the whole senior center in Trumansburg. They covered the whole town with chalk, and just great sayings from Girl Scouts and inspiration things. And it really drew a lot of people, and it drew new girls into both service units.
Yeah, thank you for that, Renee. And what's really nice about it too is that it's a great visual, right? So that people know Girl Scouts are in their community and they're like, wow, that's so cool that they did that in my area. Anyone else want to share anything? I know we're just starting the year and cookies are super exciting. The most important thing is that everyone should know that there's a membership engagement manager in your area that wants to build a relationship with you to share their passion for Girl Scouting. Sorry, Missy Joe and Jessica. Missy Joe, Jessica.
I'll go first.
Okay.
If Missy goes like second. Okay, so I'm not sure how successful it was, but at the beginning of the year, we had like a recruitment event and like a Halloween activity to celebrate like JGL's birthday and potentially bring in new girls. And we made these cute little, they're dum-dums, and it's just a napkin over top. Some of our girls put faces on some of them. And of course, we did Girl Scout green. And then on the back was just stickers. So I definitely learned, though, next year we're going to put the stickers on the napkins first, and then we'll wrap them around the little dum-dums. But they were adorable. And then we had a couple of trunk or treat opportunities, like community opportunities within our service unit. So I went and did those. We have some really cute little Girl Scout ghosties, like cutouts that we put in our trunk. And I covered that was it, empty cookie cases and oh gosh, like the webbing stuff. And that way, if anyone asked, it would be spooky for the adults because they'd be like, oh, Girl Scout cookies. And we'd be like, they're empty. Dun, dun, dun. you know, spooky. So I thought that was really cute. I'm not 100% sure how successful they were, but one of the trunk or treat opportunities that we had was new for our area. So it wasn't super well attended, but it was a really low cost and like fairly easy activity. So you're not necessarily putting a bunch of money in for no return, or
I
like
love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And you know, I like that you shared too that maybe like next year you might do it a little bit differently, because we've been doing trick or treats as staff members too, and we do like the be a smarty, join Girl Scouts, right? And we have the little cards. Well, we've been taping those onto the card for like 100 years. Well, it feels like 100 years, maybe just a couple of years. But Lisa one time was running late, not to call Lisa out, and she just put a pile like the thing to hand people the card and the Smartie. I'm like, brilliant. Think of all the time you can save, right? So sometimes when you know better, you do better. So that's great. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's so cool. Renee?
So I'll share something with Victor. So Victor has made themselves very well seen in the community. And they hit every event they can go to, anything that Victor is hosting. Girl Scouts are there, food pantries, everything. Because they've been so active in the community, they have been able to grow their service unit. They also have Peach Jar, which has not been successful for them in the schools. So now they post flyers on school events and mom groups and homeschool groups, and any group they can post on, they have posted on. So I'm going to call out Victor and how they actually took their service unit and grew it by 6 new troops. So they've done a good job.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Mr. Joe, are you ready to share?
I think so. I'm on my phone, so I apologize. We did something in my area called Meet the Leader Nights. And in each area, we set up kind of like our own little open house, and we got all the troops in the area. And it was like a registration night, but when we flyered the schools or put our stuff out, the leaders were right there at a table, and oh, you're a Daisy Brownie or you're Daisy. They could talk to the different leaders, and we had girls there and we had activities, and that kind of worked for our area. I think I did 2 or 3 of them in the fall. So that was something that we did for recruitment.
I love that. I love that so much. Again, that's where that relationship is so important too, because honestly, you guys all know your community way better than we could ever pretend to know your communities, you know, so it's really important to form that relationship. Thank you everyone for sharing your, oh, you have a question here. Jessica asked Mr. Joe, where did you host your Girl Scout open nights? Was it at a school? Was it a community center?
We pretty much did it at one of the, like a troops meeting place, a couple churches. We did it at the library. We actually did one in the park, did ice cream social. So if they came, they could have a scoop of ice cream and made sundaes and things like that. So, and we ended up with a Daisy troop out of that, and then filled 2 more troops out of the ice cream social over in Athens.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Tiffany, I see for your asking about service unit 438. I actually just talked to Libby about that today. So I know she's planning an activity right in that area. So I can have Libby reach out to you directly to talk about that. Any other additional questions? Oh, yay. Yay, Tiffany. Yes. Yay. Any ideas for middle school girls? So the coolest thing I got to do this year is take some teenage girls to Costa Rica on one of our Girl Scout trips. And so I think it's cultivating the fact that for Girl Scouts, that they can participate in different ways of just a troop setting, or they have the opportunity to be a troop setting, or and additionally, they can do these amazing trips. They can be part of the travel. They can really make it their own. I'm sorry, do you guys have a middle school level? I apologize. No, sorry. Is it a middle school level troop?
Yes.
Yes. So we'd be happy to talk about, we'd be happy to talk about it a little bit further. If you want to chit chat with your local membership engagement manager, we can kind of go from there. I'll have them reach out to you. Yes, all of that is definitely the truth. It's really hard when the troops are full. I've worked for Girl Scouts for 18 and a half years, and they say, what's the hardest part of working for Girl Scouts? That we always have the girls and not enough adult volunteers. That's why all of you participating tonight are so special to the organization. And, you know, if someone could figure out that issue, then we'd be golden, right? So we're just trying to figure out different ways that we can have people volunteer and be part of the organization, because we want to be where people want to volunteer their time, for sure.
You know, Kathleen, and I'm not sure if you all have tried this, but sometimes really sitting with the folks that want their girls in Girl Scouting and talking about the co-op troop is a nice thing. So instead of everyone feeling like they have to commit to every week, really having them, like giving the girls all of the badges, and the girl and the parent choose together what badge they want to host, and they sign up for a night on the calendar, and they're in charge of everything for that event. And that can really be a helpful way to lighten the load and the scare of committing to something for a full year, and having each person kind of committing to a little bit. So just kind of, I don't know if you've tried, if you have any troops that have done that, but sometimes that.
We have tried, and we still had 12 adults sitting there staring at us like, what are you talking about? We're like, well, all you have to do is like run one meeting every 3 months and you're good to go. And, you know, we didn't get, so we're got a ton of girls that are interested, and their parents just are not willing to commit. And we have like current leaders that are willing to stand there and help them with these like starter troop ideas. And so we have a lot of support like in our service unit to get this a troop going, but the parents are just not willing to do it. And I'm striking out everywhere.
Kathleen, I was just gonna say that, now that I'm back, I'd be happy to set up, something with you guys for the future, with the parents. Just kind of giving them a little bit more insight, on how, we can support them going through this. And sometimes it just helps to have somebody from council kind of like, hey, no Girl Scouts unless we have volunteers. That's what happens. And you guys are doing such amazing things. So I think it's important that, we get you that support from those other parents that are sitting there looking at you with their,
Cool. I have to jump, but Caitlin, let's definitely talk later. I'm leaving my co-leaders on taking notes. Okay, bye.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you for choosing to volunteer with Girl Scouts. And thank you for sharing your ideas. And thank you for partnering with the recruiters. And we know there's so many different roles that you guys all play. And we're just extremely grateful that you are choosing to volunteer with Girl Scouts. And thank you for sharing your ideas. We appreciate it very much. That's it for us, Colleen.
Thank you. That was a great, everything about recruitment. I will say, I'm going to do my thing, right? Sorry to everyone. We're talking about my daughter's troop now because that's my own personal experience. I list her all the time. She's a middle school troop. So I kind of might touch on Florencia and then kind of Kathleen too when she's gone. Her troop has gained 4 girls in 5th grade in this past year. And it's all because like the girls were asking if they could bring a friend. But I think they did it last year and they didn't gain any girls. This year, though, they started doing that co-op thing where each girl had to pick her own badge, like Christina mentioned, and then she had to lead it. My daughter decided to not tell me that I was leading a badge with her till like the week before. So that was great for me, but it's okay. It was great. Luckily, it was the first aid badge and I'm the CPR trainer. So it worked out pretty well. So Missy Jo, who's on here, even ended up being like my guest speaker. But I have to say with the girls, I find the girls at the 5th grade level are even more engaged with the troop now that they're owning those badges. And that has what led to more girls wanting to join the troop. So that's pretty cool. So if you want to try that, Florencia, it's a little scary. It's a little rocky being that first girl or two who leads the badge, but
We just discussed that last meeting. So the first badge, of course, is going to be my daughter and I.
That's right.
Leading it. And then we have a mom who's a nurse and her daughter immediately said, we'll do the first aid badge, but her mom has no idea either. So
well, best of luck to that mom. It's really fun and it's neat because
It
I
is.
admit I helped my daughter behind the scenes here get it ready, but once we got to the meeting, I think I only said 2 sentences the entire time. She owned it, she went with it. So another nod to Girl Scouts on the amazing leadership, which is just really cool. So that's my friend. But now I'm going to segue.
Aaron, well, Aaron Mallory I was just going to kind of touch on Aaron's question really quickly. So there's 2 different ways that you would do that. Either you would have 2 volunteers who are the official co-leaders, right? Who are attending each of the meetings, or you have everyone register into a role with the troop and everybody owns a piece of it. So there's 2 different ways that you can navigate that. But if you have 2 registered adults at all of your meetings, you can always have guests come in because you're providing the supervision. So it would be no different having the parent there leading a badge as it would be having a subject matter expert from the community come in. I think that's a really great question.
Thank you. So everything we just discussed in that last 39 minutes, good timing, was everything that we had submitted from the content request leading into our town hall. So we're going to almost open dialogue. I do have one last commercial I wanted to share. As a friendly reminder, as a service unit member, we want to make sure you have your voices heard at our annual meetings. So our delegate selection is coming up very soon. The deadline is January 15th. I'm going to drop into the chat the delegate selection form. Within that form, you'll be able to click on the spreadsheet that tells you how many delegates and alternates you can have for your service unit. It's really a great opportunity because, like I said, you are the voice of Girl Scouts. So we want to make sure that you're bringing your voice to that meeting so that your opinions can be heard and you can help us, navigate the future of Girl Scouts. So again, January 15th, make sure you fill it, have your voice heard. It's going to be a great time. The delegates are I've never heard of someone who does not like being a delegate. So it's a really great opportunity. And it's not a huge major time commitment or anything like that, but it's a nice way to bring the service unit voice to the annual meeting. So now,
Girls over 14 and
Yeah.
adult Girl Scout members are eligible to be delegates.
and with that being said, we are now to the point where it is open dialogue. So if anybody has any questions, they can unmute, they can raise their hand, they can drop something into the chat that they would like to talk about. So I will open up the floor. I did not mention the date and the location of the annual meeting. I'm testing, I believe it's on my calendar, so if you give me 1 second, I can shoot into my calendar. Unless, I think Angela's on here, unless Angela wants to save me. Go share.
She
The
just
annual
put it
meeting,
in.
can I share the information? I found it.
Yep.
Is it public?
We already put it up there.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
There
Yeah.
we go. I'm like, I found it, but I saw it a second, I'm like, is that put announced? There we go.
And
Trade
if
soil
you,
all the way up. Woohoo.
and if you're raising your hand, if you hover over your picture, is I think the easiest way to do it. If you hover over your picture and you click on your 3 dots, you can, no, that's not where you raise your hand. You do it in reactions. I'm sorry, that's how I lower hands. If you click on your reaction button, you can click to raise a hand. Sorry about that. I was thinking of the lower hand.
It looks like Beth has a question, Christina. Go ahead, Beth.
So, I'm just, I guess I'm a little frustrated with the locations for the awards dinners again. You are making those of us in Tompkins County drive an hour yet again. And it is very annoying, and you are not going to get very many people going. Is there anything we can do to make this a little more fair?
Yeah, Beth, I would love if you, we can talk a little bit more kind of offline, but I would love ideas because we actually spoke about this in the fall, summer, like August, September range. And we talked specifically about shifting locations and had a hard time finding a location that was going to work within our budget and capacities. So that is something I would love to have a bigger conversation with you about 100%.
I would be very happy to do that, especially as the service unit manager in Ithaca. Yep. Like, I think I hope I could help you with finding a location, and that would be very awesome if we could do that.
Absolutely. Let's have a conversation.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Go to Ithaca.
I love Ithaca.
I'm gonna butt in because May 6th, that is also the date of the camping training. But I don't remember where that's at. The overnight camp, the second half of the overnight camping training.
Does Comstock have an SSC that day, Colleen?
I think it's that weekend.
The SSC that weekend is Herkimer.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yes.
Comstock is in June. Amahami is May 13th. So the Herkimer one, there is an overlap there.
Is there another one of those trainings coming up?
The camping trainings? Yep, we have a camp. I think there's 6 actually. They're on the calendar. We have one for all of our camp locations plus Herkimer, and I believe we're working on getting one scheduled out in Hammondsport as well. So there are 6 that are scheduled throughout the spring, and then there will be again up in the fall.
Yeah, I've really got to get that in because my cadets want to go backpacking overnight.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
I know.
We'll work with you.
So excited.
We can absolutely get that working. Not a problem at all. And I'm going to call on Aaron because Erin cannot figure out how to raise her hand. So go on to Erin and you can unmute and you can ask your question.
Sorry, it's usually there and I can't find it today. What is going on with Hoover? I could be wrong, but I was under the impression that while we were looking for a new office, you guys would be moving to Hoover temporarily, but we seem to be getting into the new office. I have a troop in my service unit that has an event going on in February that was supposed to be very large. She was supposed to be having every bed filled, plus more kids coming in for the day. She just received an email saying that half the beds were gone. But if we're getting into the office, are we going to have that back the way it was?
I can certainly take that one over. Hi there. We are moving a small number of office desks into the bottom of Mark on one side. So we have relocated some of the beds, and we could certainly, if there's a big event, probably move some upstairs. I'm looking at Liz because I don't know anything about this event. In general, one side of the Mark Lodge is usually what people use or need. So I think it's a small impact, but yes, we will have a permanent space there for about 4 people. And that is because we're going to be doing programming there. We're going to be doing day activities, working with schools. There's going to be a lot more activities going on at Camp Hoover in the near future.
Okay, I guess better clarity on that information would be beneficial faster. Like I know specifically this one troop, it's in 4 weeks, and it was a journey in the day. She has 2 troops. Others kids were invited to come, and now we're scrambling to fix this and tell kids who have already paid they can't sleep over because now there's not enough spots. I know she was told kids can sleep upstairs, but you know, things had to be set up. It's frustrating with the amount of information that comes so last minute.
Actually, I do want to say that we've been talking about the move to Mark. In fact, at the last town hall, I talked about it. So we've been providing that information for several months now. I'm sorry if it's not reaching people in the way they need, but there's really, the move is complete in the way that we will be using as part of Mark Lodge in the bottom. And we will be having a small, much smaller, less than half the size of our current office in Syracuse. That is because we were not using a huge part of our huge building, which is very expensive to maintain. And I think I actually provided a PowerPoint at one of the meetings that we can probably pull up to remind people as well. But we are really looking forward to having Hoover be busy all the time during the week, not just on weekends. So yeah, I'm not sure what people are hearing, but I can certainly send out more information. I've actually, I believe that they were fully brought out and answered, and I've certainly been on many, many conversations with all of you folks. So I'm not sure where to go now. That's where we're at. That's what's happening. And as we go forward, we may be able to find other space. But what we're trying to do with Hoover is something that is larger and that will help our council to continue to survive and thrive without being so dependent on cookies. So many councils are actually having small schools. I'm not saying we're doing this. I'm saying we're evaluating it.
I think that's a great idea.
That's why we have staff there. So that's what we're doing.
So I'll just jump in as the property and camp person here. So Mark Lodge, if you're familiar with Hoover and the way that we've been running Hoover for the past couple of years, has just recently gotten bunk beds. It's not something that we have done in the past, and frankly, it's been limiting to the number of folks that can stay overnight in that building. So the same number of mattresses are located in Mark Lodge as always. We just don't actually have physical beds located in that one side of the room. So I believe there are 10 bunk beds, 8 bunk beds in the one side, which is 16. If Rob was able to squeeze another one in there, there's at least 18 and possibly 20 beds on the one side of Mark Lodge. And then the remainder of the mattresses actually still live in the lodge, which you certainly can put upstairs. The upstairs portion of Mark Lodge could comfortably sleep 16 to 20 people, I think, on the floor. And as you know, the Rangers are pretty diligent in cleaning. They mop the floor pretty consistently. I don't personally enjoy sleeping on the floor, which is why we had bunk beds installed down there. But I know that's been something that folks have done in the past. I have an air mattress that I usually sleep on when I go to Mark, just to get me off the floor a little bit. So there are some, yep, Paula Brown, I was going to say that. I've seen like ones that are really, really tall and super comfortable. So there are a few workarounds. The other thing that we have at Hoover is Fern Lodge. So we can certainly look into whether or not Fern Lodge is available for that weekend, especially if you have large numbers of folks coming. And we can certainly make that available for your encampment or for your troops that need it. So we do have workarounds. You know, it's seems as though it might be sort of impactful on folks coming, but I think with a little creative thinking, we can certainly accommodate the number of folks that you have signed up.
Good point, Liz. Thank you. We didn't even have bunk beds and any of the people just slept on the floor until like a year or two ago. So we will do whatever we need to do. Both of the lodges are heated. Fern Lodge has bathrooms and showers, and we're putting a shower into Mark Lodge as well. I believe that people will have the room they need to have. In addition, I believe there will be activities and events that you will enjoy and get more from at camp, because we have never really used Hoover to the extent that we could. So I think, you know, change is hard, and it's hard to get information out to everyone in every way we can, but I will send it yet. I'll send it again. I think it was in our last communication that went out as well. But that's what's going on there. So I'm happy to let people know, but it's a really, as I said, I've said several times, is that we intend to have chickens. We intend to do things that are really cool with the community there that will be beneficial to your girls as well, I'm certain. So.
And if you didn't know, just as a quick update / reminder for folks, Sherry Phillips, who was the camp director down at Comstock this past season, I'm sorry, 2 seasons ago, is the new camp director at Hoover. So she will be there. And all of you, I'm sure, know Rob in some capacity, and he's still there doing his Rob thing at Hoover. And then there's a new camp director at Comstock. His name is Michael Garcia. Yep, Rob is awesome. I agree. And Michael Garcia is going to be taking over at Comstock. And they are more than welcome to host a tour if you want to see the property. If you haven't been to some of these buildings before, they're happy to accommodate and make sure that you feel comfortable with coming onto the properties and spending time with us. So feel free to reach out to myself, Liz Schmidt, and or Sherry, Michael. We have a new Comstock Ranger actually as well. His name is Eric Olson. He's a young go-getter. So if you see him around Comstock, say hello to him. He's great. So
Liz, if I could, I want to interrupt you, but I don't want to miss this question. Jennifer is saying that the information regarding our camps, the detailed maps and information about the resources are not always correct. Can you lead?
They are correct.
Where they can locate it, because we even have how many hands are in there. I mean, we have all of that information. So and it is up to date. So I'm not sure where that, maybe there's a disconnect with our website or something. So I just want to make sure I address that.
Yeah, they have been up to date. We actually, if you ever go like onto other councils' websites, the GSUSA is switching platforms on their website. So they're kind of like moving from our older style, which we currently have, onto kind of an upgraded, more fluid style of website. And so I know that our marketing team and a communications team is working on updating our website. And I know that there are links that are broken, and there are definitely things that need to be fixed. So Jennifer, I will absolutely talk to marketing at some point this week, tomorrow, and figure out what is happening there. But I do know that if you go onto our summer camp, there's a visit our property site, and that link should be active for the most part. So yep, and Girls Love Camp is active as well. So I'll definitely double check.
Yeah, I'm on it right now. So if you want to see it, you go to our main camp, and then you go to visit our camps, and that will give you the map, and will also tell you like for which units are wheelchair accessible, different information about each one of them, whether or not they have a fireplace, a porch, stuff like that. So that is up to date right now. So maybe it's looking at a different spot on our website. I know that it can be confusing. So.
Yep. So if you go on to if you're on Double Knot, which is where you typically get onto property reservations and things like that, there's a resource tab in the top there. And if you click on the resource tab, there's confirmation packets, there's property information for all of our properties, and it is 98% up to date. I think those are PDFs that, if capacity of mark is not updated, because that's sort of a new thing that we haven't updated yet. But for the most part, it's updated. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free. Beth has just dropped those names in the link there on the chat. So feel free to reach out and grab us. You can always email info@gsnypenn.org as well, and it will make sure to get to us. Looks like, yeah, member families certainly can reserve a site at one of the camps, and we do have family camps at camp typically as well. All of those things, if you go to Girls Love Camp, camp programs, property reservations, summer camps, all of those things are now located at girlslovecamp.org. So before I stop talking, since I'm on a roll here, I'm going to answer the question that was above about camporee. So camporee, if you're a new leader, is a great way to dip your toes into camping. What we've done is work with Glimmerglass State Park in Cooperstown, New York, to reserve some tent camping sites. I think there are, 30, 35 or so campsites there that we reserve for up to 10 people per site. So typically, if you go camping, you need SSC, SSO. We're not requiring that because staff members are going to be there and helping with all of the things that you need to have a successful camping weekend. We will help you light fires. We will help you cook over the fires. We will help you do all the things that you need to do. So you don't need SSD if you want to camp with us during camporee weekend. And then we have some really awesome activities planned with the DEC, Hyde Hall, which is where Juliette Gordon-Lowe spent some time in the summers when she was visiting friends there in Cooperstown, New York. There's a Glimmerglass boat tour, rail bikes, the Baseball Hall of Fame with the women's baseball exhibit is there as well. So we're really hoping to provide some really awesome, enriching activities for girls. And it's Girl Scouts Love State Parks weekend as well. So what better way to spend that weekend than in one of our glorious New York State parks, and sort of, I kind of want to say kill two birds with one stone, but I feel like maybe like nature wise, that's not a great thing to say in this scenario. So we will, I don't know, think of the best thing that's like that, but not death for birds. The date is September 9th, 10th, and 11th. Is that right? That weekend, whatever the weekend is of the 9th, 10th, 11th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Yes, Friday, 8, 9, and 10. Yep, that's it. And then registration opens at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Cost is $85 per person, and it's fantastic. Oh my gosh, yes, we went to Hyde Hall. We went on a tour there, and it was amazing. If you love history and old things, like I just like being in old houses and like creeping around, like, I don't know, on people's like dishes and stuff. It's there and it's amazing. So yeah, do it. The capacity limit on camporee is probably about 300, 350 or so. That's about what we had last year, but I think they're pretty flexy. So I would say the sooner the better, but also I know it's September and you don't have cookie funds yet and you're still setting goals with your troops and that sort of thing. You can put a deposit down, however, and our cancellation policies are in place for this. So as long as you cancel prior to the deadline, which is sometime in August, if something does come up and you need to cancel, that's acceptable. So it's $25 per deposit and you can save your spot for Camporee 2023. And I'm super excited that it rhymes this year. So expect to hear a lot of Camporee 2023 is coming out of my mouth.
And you said registration is live in Double Knot now or coming this weekend?
Tomorrow at 9 a.m. is when it opens. So if you do follow that link, I know a lot of the links was like a 404 error when you were following it through the Facebook page. That link will actually take you right to the Double Knot registration site now. So you can cut out the middleman of whatever was there before. And if you have any other questions about camp, property reservations, camporee, etc., I'm going to pop my email in the chat here and feel free to send me an email.
I'm trying to scroll through the chat. I think we've hit all the questions. Maureen Hayden did a fantastic commercial in there for me, but I'll bring it out to a live commercial. Don't forget volunteer nominations for our amazing awards. The deadline is coming up on February 14th, aka Valentine's Day. So if you have some stellar volunteers in your area, please feel free to nominate and send some love their way. Other than that, I do not see anything else in the chat. Does anyone else have anything that they'd like to raise hands, unmute, drop in the chat while we're still here?
I have something.
Yeah, Sarah. Yeah.
I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but my roster is not showing up in eBuddy on the app, on the web version. Is that the 24th as well? My cookie parents can't get in. I can't get in.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, nobody will have access to cookie eBuddy stuff until January 24th.
Okay, thank you.
Sarah, we don't even have access to staff right now.
Yep.
Nope.
Just so you know. I mean, that's part of the thing, just so you're aware. So like, yeah, it's not, we get this access.
We're
when you
all in
guys
this
get access.
together.
Yeah.
It's that kind of year. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's because of the uploading, of the new data and the new roster. So this is when we're prepping all of that information. So we keep everyone out until that information is actually relevant and usable.
And to plug it in, plug this little plug in, like make sure you're reviewing your actual roster and the VTK to make sure you have the right amount of girls in your troop so that they're ready to go for the DOC. You should have received an email from your customer engagement manager, your membership support person saying like, hey, Sarah, do you have these 10 girls? And if you're like, oh no, I have 11, then like, let's recognize who's missing now so that there's no delay in getting the gal into the DOC in a faster rate. Or if you're like, oh, why do I have 12 and there's only 10 or whatever the case may be.
And the cookie manager roles, you can update those as well for your volunteers if those are changing. That goes in my GS as well. I found that.
If anyone has any problems with that, you can just call customer engagement and they'd be able to help you over the phone, or you can email info@ and someone will reach out to you to help you.
Liz, for the camporee, we need to keep our ratio for the number of girls we're bringing with us? Or do you have extra adults?
We do not have extra adults at this point. Additionally, any adults that we do have staff-wise are going to be troubleshooting, like I said, campfires and food and medical issues and things like that. So you're definitely going to need to bring adults within ratio, but at each campsite, I think the max for a campsite is 10, give or take. So as long as you've got, you know, your adults within, yes, there is a nice big parking lot. As long as you've got your adults within ratio, you should be okay. We'll be cruising around, we'll have radios and, you know, we'll be able to troubleshoot anything that comes up, but we will not be able to supervise your children.
I would say the NYPENN and volunteer Facebook group's a good place to say, hey, who's going and needs, like, I only have 2 girls and 1 adult. Can we buddy up and together and try to find adult partners for your smaller groups?
Yep, that's a great idea. We also are going to be assigning, so it's not going to be like a free for all, like show up and just go to any campsite. We're going to be assigning folks to campsites. So you may be like, if you're a small troop or just a couple of girls or whatever, you will be in proximity to other smaller groups as well. So that's a great point too, Jennifer. And of course, if you have any individually registered girls that want to come that maybe need a little help finding an adult or a troop to hang on to, just email us and let us know and we can help you out too.
And there was a question up and I took my eyes off it and now it's gone. President's Award. So there was a question to explain the President's Award a little bit, which is a way that we kind of looked at the 4 different quadrants of the support that you provide to your local community of Girl Scouts. And so looking at that, I'll let Colleen explain it a little bit more unless there's a specific question.
I was going to ask Beth, are you referring to the Girl Scout President's Award for service units or are you referring to the President's Volunteer Service Award?
Oh, the Volunteer Service Award. Yes, I'm sorry.
Nope, you're good.
Too quickly.
The
That's what
Service
happened.
Award, please. Yes.
Okay. So I will admit that I have not had to provide much assistance on the Volunteer Service Award. I'm pinned since I've stepped into this role, but based on my minimal knowledge of it, essentially we are considered a certifying organization. So if an individual does complete the hours and everything that's involved with it, I believe we have to then certify their hours, and then it can go up to be submitted to the national organization that approves them.
Kelly, Nikki Barnard's actually in charge of this. I'm sorry, I know that's what they were asking. So Nikki's in charge of the President's Award. So if you have questions about it, you can email her directly if you send it to info at, or it's I'll put her email right in the chat, but she does our President's Award for anyone that earns it.
Okay, so I guess my question is, and maybe somebody on here knows, my sort of specific question is, do hours that you volunteer for Girl Scouts count, or does it have to be outside of Girl Scouts, or is it a combination of both?
To be honest, I'm not a subject matter expert on that, so I just put Nikki's email, but if you email her, she will help you. And just because we can't know it all, girlfriend, so but Nikki knows it all, so give her a shout. So I just put her email in there. So
perfect, Sarah. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
I thought I saw another hand, but now it's disappeared. So I'm guessing either someone changed their mind and didn't have a question, or I lost them. Does anybody have any other questions? A lot of great conversation tonight. Well, I allow people some time to see if they want to enter any questions. I'm going to drop in 2 links into the chat. The first one is our GS events link. If you want to register for our next town hall, which is coming up on May 10th. A great way to wrap up the year, probably talking about all kinds of summer things, and I'm sure summer camp will be a hot topic come May. And then the second link that I'm going to drop in there is, again, the same content request that people submitted for tonight. So if you have some specific topics that you'd like to discuss on the upcoming May meeting as well. And I'll type those in, feel free to unmute.
Hey Jessica, this is Levi. He's like in all of my grill. I'm sorry. Hello, I'll introduce him because you asked. That's Levi. He's my baby. We have another baby, but he's underneath my legs. We have Abraham and Levi.
Yeah, so Holly, yes, the direct ship opens later. I believe it's February 27th. And then, so they will, that option to order cookies for direct ship will not appear until your customer clicks on the link to the digital order card on that day. If they click on the digital order card prior to that day, they will not be able to place, and they won't see the option for direct ship cookies. They will only see the buy from a girl option and have them girl delivered. That's all they'll see. I don't know if that, I'm trying to see if, I think that answers the question, but you're welcome to come off mute if I missed it.
Well, they have a standard message go with the emails that say, hey, the direct shipment will open on this date, so that when the emails go out automatically, they can see it.
That's a great question. We can find out the answer to that. Yes, and the Raspberry Rally is only direct ship. All right.
Just a reminder, I had looked at the cookie sheet the other day, and there is a discrepancy on the Raspberry Rally charm. The 480 is the correct number. The little circle down below, there's a, wherever it is on there in 2 different places, it's the 480 is the correct number.
Correct.
Thank
I caught
you.
that the other day. Like it's like, apologize, it's correct at the top where there's like that big like trail following them. Then
Yeah.
at the bottom of the order card, there's a spot where they show all of the charms. that part, they put the charm list, I think is at a higher rate. I think it's like, they list it as like 680 or something down there.
600.
Yep, so
Yeah,
go for the
it's-
lower number. It's a lower
it's
number,
a-
guys.
Yay, a win finally.
We seem to be quieting down. Any last questions, ideas? We don't have Erin on here, so we can't have her play music for us. She's our resident DJ.
That's okay. I'm going to guess that there are several of you that we will be seeing again in just a short time on January 19th, when we get together with all of our service team volunteers to take a deep dive into planning for early bird and all sorts of good stuff. Renee will be talking more about starter troops. We have some nice things planned. Our board chair is going to be on the call with us, so we're really looking forward to it.
And Erin will be playing music.
And Erin will play music.
That's why you guys all really come to those calls. Thank you, Katie, for joining us and adding to the dialogue and helping us out. I'm going to say general thank you to everybody for joining us. I think at one point our count was up to 53, I think I saw. So a nice crowd. Thank you for submitting all of your questions and your contact information, because we're here to help you guys and support you, and we want to make sure that you get your questions answered. So I will leave it open for like one more minute, and we can hang out if anyone wants to put any last minute questions in the chat bar. If anyone else would like to say any goodbye messages from our team, they're welcome to do so.
Thank you, and drive safely.
I will be driving carefully in my fuzzy socks as I go downstairs near the fireplace.
Well, I thought with you having the Girl Scout emblem behind you that you actually were at the office.
Oh no, my office is packed up and in boxes right now. Julia would not complain though if this went on the wall in the new office. This is pretty fancy.
It's nice.
It's a nice virtual background. I enjoy it.
I like that one too.
Renee's got one behind her too.
We all like the backgrounds. We gotta play with them. Stay tuned.
Send me a link.
I can share.
Join us on the
can share.
19th.
I will be, I think. I think I'm
I
already
think her name's
registered for
on the list. So get ready for it. Wink, wink.
We'll share some coolness with you.
Wait a minute. Does that imply I'm not cool now?
No, we have cool things to share. You were talking about the background, and I said, "Ooh, you said you wanted one." I said, "Come on the 19th."
They do.
Spoiler alert.
Okay. It looks like there's no more questions or hands getting raised.
Perfect.
So one last time, I will say thank you to everybody for joining us tonight. It's nice to see you. It's nice to be January 10th and not having to run around dealing with Cookie Madness yet. We look forward to seeing you soon. If we see you on January 19th, we'll see you January 19th. But don't forget, before January 19th, get your delegate selection in by January 15th. Thank you, everybody, and have a great night.